All right, welcome into Burn After Listening, episode 12. No one thought we would make it this many episodes, so congrats to us. Introduced by a couple of my usual co-hosts today. Whit, how we feeling?
Doing good. It's been a little bit since I hopped on the mics with you fellas, but it's good to be back. Good to see the weather changing, and it's officially sunburn season. So for all the pale fellows out there, just keep that in mind. We're rolling into this summer. We're going minimal sunscreen, so hope it works out for everybody.
All right, best of luck with that. Smokey, how we feeling?
Good to be back after a bit of a hiatus of just being behind the scenes. But like Wood said, officially sunburn season. I got my nice base burn this weekend, had a nice beach day, playing some spike ball. So glad to be back. Weather's beautiful. Things are all coming up smoky recently, and couldn't be more stoked for the pod.
Fuck yeah, dude! Great to hear. We're also joined by an extremely special guest. Top five burners of all time,
No
multiple
doubt.
award winner, Ghost Malone. Ghost, how are we?
Oh, I'm good. I'm here. Long time caller, first time listener. So,
Dude, hell yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I know you have a very busy schedule, and you'd probably rather do anything else than talk to us. But yeah, dude, how are you doing? How's your week?
good, good. Like I said, schedule's pretty tight, but I was managed to make time for the burners. Probably too much time, honestly, but I figure that's why I keep getting broke up with. But it is what it is. So,
And yeah, sometimes it's worth it for the universe, you know. But yeah, thank you so much again for joining us. You've kind of had an interesting background. I'll just hop into it here. You've fighted professionally, which not many people have ever fighted at all in their lives. So just tell us a little bit about that and how you could probably kick anybody's ass on Twitter.
um, yeah. I mean, it's kind of the funny thing is because when people, they like to talk shit on Twitter and say that they'll show up to your house or whatever like that, and I feel free and more than welcome. But yeah, I did start as an amateur, obviously. I did karate, kung fu won and stuff growing up. I wasn't big in like football or anything like that. So um, once you grow up, when you do martial arts, the only way to really test yourself is like to compete, which I never really wanted to. I kind of got suckered into it, but uh, I have a kind of strange career because I never really got to do like the gradual uphill slope. I went from here right to the top. I only had two amateur fights. I beat those guys mercilessly, and I was like, "Well, this is fucking easy." Then when I had a couple lower ranked fights. I started off 3-0, won my first world title, and I was like, "Well, this is easy." Then I went to the second world title when I got to Legacy, Bellator. Um, wasn't as easy. So those guys were no fucking joke there. Um, that's why it kind of pisses me off. You'll see people talk about in any pro sport. They'll say, just for example, Kirk Cousins sucks. Kirk Cousins does not fucking suck. He's one of the top 30 in the world at what he does, whether you like him or not. But like that's one thing that really does get under my skin is when people when they sit there and say these guys such and such sucks. Izzy Adesanya sucks. He doesn't fucking suck at that level, dude. It is no joke. You're living in the gym 6-8 hours a day, 6 days a week. Um, the the dedication and how hard it takes, not just to do it, but to get to that level is I can't even explain it to. I'd hate to say like a normal person, but like somebody who's never done something at that level, they will never understand what it takes or how hard it actually is.
Right.
No
Yeah,
doubt. Now,
100%. I mean, you've always got people that, I mean, that's my biggest thing on Twitter too, half the time, where it's like these people commenting on the NHL or like these journalists who have never played the game, anything like that. And it's like you don't fucking know what you're talking about. You don't know what it fucking takes. Like you're just an idiot who farts behind a screen. Like go fuck yourself. But you mentioned something earlier that you were kind of like you just started off in karate. You didn't want to like kind of be forced to compete, but you were like, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean you were forced to compete?
So you got to remember, MMA is it's been around for about 30 years, but it wasn't really popular until probably the early 2000s, which is, I know it's not really y'all's time, but like for me, that was when I was my, teenager and stuff like that. So, when I got done, I was just kind of over it and done with it. And I had a buddy, he had started watching the UFC and he wanted to go to an MMA gym. And he's like, "Well, you go with me, you do martial arts." I said, "I'm not going. That shit's fucking gay. I'm not going." So he convinced me to go with him. I went one night and I was like, "That was terrible. This isn't fun." And then it got to the point where I kept going with him, and then he stopped, and that's kind of how I got sucked into the MMA thing. Is It was a real weird thing, man, because I did most of my training at by school in Chicago, or by Chicago, I should say. I was there for almost 5 years, and I was the best guy in that gym. I thought I was the best 170-pound fighter in the world,
Yeah.
and it's because I could. There was no competition. I was like a shark in a goldfish tank. I just didn't realize that until further down the road. And then once I got to Legacy and Bellator stuff, when I switched to Half Gracie, my coach in Chicago told me, he said, "There's there's always somebody better than you out there." My first day at Half Gracie, I called my coach. I said, "I've never wanted to quit so fucking bad in my life, dude." He said, "Why? There's always somebody better than you, right?" Yeah, I said, "I found a whole gym full of them fucking guys." So, I mean, even as good as I was, there's only one thing worse than getting beat up, and it's getting beat up in front of 20,000 people. I saw me do it, so I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. But I mean, that's why it doesn't really impress me or anything like that when people talk about fighting, because I've done it. I've done it at the top level, so it's like it's kind of hard to impress me when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, right.
Quick question for you, Ghost. Longtime follower, first time talker to her. Now, what does your day to day look like when you are in those not minor leagues, but like the Bellator, those bigger promotions? Those are the real deal. Those are badass dudes that are all vying for spots on a very limited UFC roster. What does your day to day look like? Your meals,
So when you're on when you're on the lower levels, or once you get to that level?
That level.
At that level, I had people tell me what I could and could not do. I was not allowed to ride motorcycles. I couldn't go snowboarding, stuff like that, because they have so much money invested in you. And I'm sure it's probably changed a little bit now, but I couldn't go to the bars, anything like that. So once you enter training camp, it was like I only hung out with people from the gym. Anybody else, my other friends never saw me, never heard from me. But it's like a double-edged sword, because those people didn't understand what I went through on a day-to-day basis. They didn't. They just get to see like that 15 minutes or that 25 minutes, and they think, "Oh, you're a fucking rock star," like, yeah, but dude, the 12 weeks that I spent 50 hours a week in the gym, that's what they don't get. And then you kind of disassociate yourself from what I say, like normal people, because in your head, it's like, I've chosen to suffer, and when you haven't, but you want like to ride the coattails, or kind of like you want the good part of it, but you don't want to do the 99% of the shitty part of it, so the best part about fighting is that real small sliver. The rest of it fucking sucks. It's miserable. It's a miserable career to choose. But on the flip side, most people will never live their dream. I've got to walk out in arenas, sold out arenas, and I can never explain to somebody what that's like. So it's like, it was definitely worth it for me. It just, once it became a job and everybody was the best guy, I wasn't beating everybody up anymore, then I'm like, there was nothing I could do to ever guarantee myself to get to the next level. But to go back to your question, is like, you get up in the morning, you go to the gym in the morning, and that might be at 6 o'clock in the morning, might be 8, depending, because there's different class schedules every day. The fighters who actually fight are separated from everybody else. You don't train with the average classes. You're like, they keep them as far away from you as possible, because they're liable to hurt you or something like that, So, but I didn't take my diet really that serious. But again, at the time I was walking about 205, 210. I cut to 170 for 5 years. And then when I went to Legacy and Bellator, I was 155. So I was cutting 50 pounds, and that was fucking miserable. So once you get into the cutting stage, it's a whole different ballgame. You start cutting food out, and then that last week, you're basically on the Anne Frank diet. You're on the Kai Hooves diet.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh,
So wake up early, and then you're spending 8 hours in a gym. You were saying, like, how are those 8 hours being divvied up?
How's it divvied up? It depends on the day. So you got to remember, I had probably between 6 and 8 coaches at any time. So I would have a Muay Thai coach, I'd have a strength and conditioning coach, I'd have a weightlifting coach, I'd have a jiu-jitsu coach, I'd have Muay Thai coach, boxing coach. So depending on the day, who was available for what, because those guys are very, very busy guys. You're not the only dude, so you're trying to get in with everybody else. You also you're trying to train with other guys who are also in camp and get ready for fights too. My gym was really, really organized about it, and they tried to get everybody on the same card or cards right around the same time, so everybody was kind of in that same thing. You were never really off doing, just you are fighting this weekend, So it really did vary. It varied a lot. Especially once you get to the cutting and stuff like that, because then you're literally all the training you're doing, you're not really training any striking or jiu-jitsu. You're really just doing strength conditioning. You're running, and you're all in a sauna suit, sweats, hoodies, everything, dude. And it might be 100 degrees outside, and that's the difference between people that go to that level. Is like, I have such a desire to not lose that I can never see myself losing. I mean, I would always go that much further than the next guy. I mean, I would do anything to not lose. And that's where most people are like, they're not okay with losing, but if losing happens, that was like my biggest fear.
They like winning more than they hate losing.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I hated losing more than they liked winning. Like I lost twice my entire career, you know. It is like, and it was the most embarrassing thing in my life. You have thousands and thousands of people who show up to see you, and then you get beat. It was like, that's when it really, really, really humbled me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you not dig, like, you know, I completely, that makes total sense to me that it would be shitty that your boys would want to be there and just like, you know, just cheer you on and just experience the good parts and be able to say, oh, my boy's a rock star fighter, but not be willing to put up with, like you said, the cutting. It's every aspect of your life, essentially, being miserable for 15 minutes of trying to beat the piss out of some other guy.
Yeah.
Did you have friends that you could confide in that you like wanted there with you?
In the gym, and I had one kid from high school that he was like my biggest fan. He followed everything about my fighting career. He actually came to the gym and trained a couple times. And this was, I don't know if you ever seen the flying armbar video, whatever, but there was that fight. I flew back to Illinois where he was at, knocked on his door and gave him a cornerman's pass, and he about shit himself. He was like crying. He was so happy because he got the experience. He got to walk out with me. He got to experience all of it, and like that. He was about probably the only one. The rest of the people, like from high school and stuff like that, once you start getting on TV, then they want to be your fucking friend again, you know. And I wasn't having it. So most of my friends really were in the gym, like I said, just because I couldn't really associate with what I called a normal person because I was fighting 6 days a week, and they were at the bars drinking and partying. So I didn't ever get to do that really in my 20s. You know, this was what I was doing. So they were doing all that stuff, and I was busting my ass to a degree that they will never understand. But they did try to come crawling out of the woodwork and stuff, but I didn't really have it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. When this podcast blows up, all you fake people, the fuck out of here. Ghost, I did have a question. Do you think on any level that guy may have wanted to fuck you?
Which guy?
The guy that was like that just followed you the whole way from high school.
Oh, you're talking about MMA? I was talking about man-on-man action. I wasn't talking about mixed martial arts.
Okay, my bad. That's where I got mixed up. My fault.
It's similar but different.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so that's a good background there. And then, so you said that you only lost twice when kind of like you moved up to those levels where there's some, you know, like real bad motherfuckers that were just as bad as you. Is that kind of where you ended up calling it off, or like?
Yeah, I mean, once it became a job, it was not fun. Like, I'm not saying because I wasn't the best anymore, but like when I went to House Gracie, those guys were not afraid of me. Like there was guys from the UFC, they were in Strike Force, they've been to Bellator, you know, they've been all over doing that stuff, you know. So I was going from a place where I was like the dude to a place where everybody was. It was 100 me's, but some of them were just a lot better than me. You know, they as much as I wanted to win and not lose, they wanted it even more than I did, which I couldn't imagine. You know, if I was in the gym 5 or 6 hours, they were in the gym 8 hours. You know, they wanted to do one more extra round of sparring. I'm like, I'm exhausted. I mean, that was the difference between them. Like, as much heart as I had, I didn't have what those guys take. You look at especially look at GSP or Anderson Silva, like when they were in their prime, those guys wanted it so bad. Like there was nothing that was going to stop them. You know, they weren't going to lose. They didn't lose for 7 fucking years, you know? So that's the difference, you know? And like, once I got to that level and I was like, there's nothing I can do to guarantee myself to go, and my heart is not in this anymore. That's when I was like, it just wasn't fun. Getting punched in the face is not fun for a living, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I that was a question I was going to bring up too. Like, when you kind of got to that next level, when everyone's just as hungry as you, like, what is the actual difference that makes someone better than someone? Like, are there just some people that are like freaks of nature that no matter how hard you fucking hit them or no matter what you do, like nothing's happening to them, like they're just gonna laugh?
Where's the margin? Like, what is the I forget what it's called, but like the one thing that just separates, this from this, like
It's
that extra step, that extra execution.
so it's like you have a pie, and for me, I never really trained wrestling. I fucking hated wrestling. It was boring. In retrospect, it's probably the best martial art you could have because you don't have to be able to beat somebody up to win a fight. You just got to be able to stifle them, stop them from hitting you, and you win. So I lost both my fights to state champion wrestlers, and people in the crowd saying, "Get up!" I'm fucking trying, dude. Like, you think I like it short elbowed in the face? Like,
Man. Yeah, fuck you. I hate when people do that.
I used to be the same way when I'd watch a GSP fight. So like, this is fucking boring.
It's so fucking whack. It's like, dude, like I just want to see, nothing's better than a UFC fight when they're just in the pocket, just throwing at each other. And the wrestling, is like it's like gay sex, like it's an acquired taste. It's like,
I used to think the same thing until I fought two wrestlers who were very, very good, and like all they did was make it so they didn't beat me up or nothing like that, but they made it so I was a striker, and they completely took all my weapons away. And then they, like I said, my last one, they short elbowed. He just short elbowed face, hammer fist, whatever, with a broken arm. He had a broken arm and he won. So
holy shit,
super cool. He was actually a super cool guy. Yeah, I broke his arm in the first round. I had back-to-back fights where I broke guys' arms.
Can you feel that when you break somebody's arm? Can you tell?
I have one video of it where you can see the referee because his arm broke right below the elbow, and then it broke again like a door hinge. And it popped, and you can see me look at the referee, tell his arms broke, and he's like looking, he's like, I don't. And he gets up, he's holding his arm, and he came back out and fought again. A few more rounds.
fucking shit. That's
they let him do that?
Yeah, they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to do that, but
well, I think back in the old day too, if you told the ref like I'm good, like he was just gonna be like, all right, you're good.
unless it was like, because you see like people go into this is probably something. So back when I was fighting, the promotions didn't carry insurance on you. They didn't have to. They passed a law in I think 2013 that changed that. So like you look at, for example, you go into a fight hurt, and then you just once the fight's over, you say, oh, I hurt this in the fight, and the promotion covers everything. So like Patrick Cote, he went in to fight Anderson Silva. He had a torn ACL. He went in there, fought, his knee buckled, he's up, I tore it in the fight, so you got to pay for it. So that's it's kind of a loophole. So you never go into a fight 100%. Something's always hurt. So when people talk about, oh, he's a pussy because he backed out, you got to be hurting pretty bad to back out a fight because you haven't been paid in 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Quick question for you, Ghost. What's the should you jerk off pre or post fight, or like how soon before a fight?
It's actually funny that you should bring this up. So my coach actually had a rule: no sex the day before or the day of the fight. Other than that, I guess it's free reign.
Sex, like, does that include jerking off, or should you be jerking off like a lot? Because Tyson Fury,
that's with him. I don't know.
Tyson Fury was saying he did that GQ interview where it's the 10 things I can't live without, and he pulled out this bottle of like a lube, and he's like, when I'm in camp, I'm jerking off like 7 times a day just to keep my testosterone high. And that's just a ridiculously high volume of jerks.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm curious about your opinion on
that. Seems excessive, but I mean, it's been so long now. I mean, I don't really remember. I can't even fucking remember now. I mean, it's been so fucking long, man.
Ah, jeez. I appreciate that. So no sex day of or day before.
Yeah, that was his rule. So I don't know where that came from, but that rule was broken many a times.
Now, post fight, post fight. What is victory? Of course,
what was like your go-to
locker room?
What was your like party too? Because I mean, I hear now all like so when they go into a big UFC fight, like both guys plan a post party thinking they're gonna win. Was that the same for you, or
what kind of sucks is, especially if you're early on the card. I was a main event twice, so you have the fight. You got to shower, and then you got to go to all your post-fight stuff. You got to do all that media stuff that you have to do. But if you're all like on the early card, you have to sit there all fucking night, wait for the card to get over, and then do all that shit, and then you get to go. But I've done some legendary partying in my day. I'll keep it at that. I mean, I've done some unforgivable things.
Is there
put your body through all that? You deserve it.
Strap. Is there a celebrity that you rubbed elbows with that was at a level of
Great
partying as
question.
you, or that was like surprised that they couldn't party as well?
I
Or
partied with Tito Ortiz down in the Virgin Islands, and then I met Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, if you guys know him. But like to this day, he probably thinks I'm retarded because I walked up to him. He had a guy standing there. I recognized him. I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, what's up?" He goes, "What's up?" I go, "I have to go," and I walked away from him. I fucking panicked. He's probably like, "Who let this fucking guy out of the house?"
Oh shit. Fuck, that's so sick. Okay, so then at one point, do you make a burner and start just torching people online? Was it while you were still fighting? Like, where does it come in?
No, I don't know, man. I had a burner back in like 2016, 17 that had like 10,000 some followers on it. It was a Texas country thing, and it was made a lot of people very angry. I have to put like Big Cat would respond to me and stuff like that off Barstool because I would troll him so hard.
Yeah.
Got banned for threatening to cut someone's head off with a coping saw because they were making fun of Texas Tech, and then they got banned. But then I have other friends who are musicians that I would create burners of them, and then those all got suspended. But then when I created Ghost, I thought I was in this world by myself. I'm like, I'm just a dickhead with a fake account bothering people, and then that's why like all these friends that I've made in the burner community, I really owe them to Rick Rollins because somehow our paths crossed on some post. I commented on something. He commented below, like, who the fuck is this old guy commenting back to me? So I clicked on the profile, like, there's no way this is fucking real, dude. And then I saw, like, some of y'all were commenting back and forth. I'm like, these are all fake accounts, dude. So then I added Rick, and then I talked to Rick or somebody, and then all the requests started coming in.
Nice. Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, Rick's a great guy. I'm glad that was your first intro. Yeah, I mean, I think
Rick's been to my house. He's been here.
Oh, seriously? Yeah, dude. I thought we were going this month. Well, we'll figure it out for August. So okay, so you're a well-known, hater too. So I mean, what off the top of your head, like the top 3 accounts you hate most, whether it's Kamala Harris to Hooves, all in there.
Oh man, my number one hated account is probably gonna be. It would probably have to be Kai Hooves. I cannot stand her.
Neither.
She looks like she fucking smells bad, dude. She looks like those people who make their own soap, but then doesn't use it.
Yeah. That's a great chirp. That's one of the best chirps I've ever heard.
Taco Bell is right below it. Does she? Oh, she owns a mirror, right? Has she actually seen herself?
I don't think so. Did you see the Snap group where she was like crammed into the camera, dude? Oh my god!
Every picture she takes, she has like her head doesn't fit in the fucking frame.
No,
I mean like you can scoot it out and it still don't fucking fit.
It's like a square almost.
Yeah, it's like I don't get it. It's like God started making her and just stopped.
All right, who's number 3?
Number 3, huh? I would probably say, although I can't troll him anymore, I'd probably say Rob, just because he talked all that shit. And I think maybe through the grapevine he found out who I was, and all of a sudden he doesn't say anything to me anymore. He won't respond to me or nothing.
Yeah, nothing, dude. He was like, come and fight me, and you're like, gladly.
He said he's gonna track my IP and show it to my house. Feel free, brother.
Dude, fucking yeah. Why? I mean, I think you kind of invite that too. Like, you go online hoping someone's gonna do that.
Yeah, and also like the birds who have met me in person, like I'm a lot bigger in person than what I look like. I mean, I'm 6'3", 240 pounds. So people see me in person, they're like, holy shit. Like when Willie met me, he's like, holy shit. So you're a lot bigger than I thought you were. Like, so over a burner account, they think you're just some kid sitting in a basement. They don't realize that you're a 37-year-old grown-ass man sitting in your living room while your girlfriend sleeps trolling people.
Exactly, dude. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit bigger than you, so I'm not that impressed, but no big deal.
I did see a Mrs. Ghost Malone request to follow me, and the bio was something bananas.
Yeah, that's the girlfriend. We've been doing this back and forth about 5 years. Maybe we'll figure it out one of these decades. We don't know.
Yeah,
she's gonna kill me for telling you this. Our first date, she called the fucking cops on me because I wouldn't give her a ride home because she was blacked out drunk. So anytime she replies to any of you guys, just comment back. Why don't you just call the cops on me?
I will. I'm looking at her bio now. It's
Yeah,
Crazy.
it was some. Yeah, I'm looking at it
I'm
too.
just gonna read it. It's cream pie veteran, transphobic, backed into Jay Nokovich's car one time, tax a homeless. God bless Dale Earnhardt. These colors don't run.
Jay Novacek's the tight end from the Dallas Cowboys in like the early 90s.
Oh, is he really? No clue who it was. Mispronounced his name too. I'm not a football guy.
That's an unbelievable compilation of words and phrases in that bio.
Yes, I'm
It's
surprised.
a privilege of hanging around me all the time. So she's one of the 4 people who think I'm funny in person.
Hell, dude, right there with you, man. All right, I had some stuff I wanted to bring up too. If you wanna kind of stay on and comment on this.
Yeah.
So a while ago, I was with my friend we were kind of going through the line at Taco Bell after hockey, and what happened was they're like, the cashier's like, hey, do you want to round up for like the children's hospital? And I was like, no, thanks, I'm good. And I pull forward a little bit. My friend's like, you don't want to round up? And I'm like, dude, I was like, no. I was like, first of all, Taco Bell like writes it. They use my donation as their own and they write it off. They don't care. Most of the money probably isn't even going to that thing. He and I start laughing and we're just past the speaker. The guy hears us and I give him my card and he rounds it up anyway. And I'm like, all right, what the fuck? So I was like, yo, dude, you round it up. And he goes, oh, I must have done it by accident. I was like, I clearly told you, like, I didn't want you to. He's like, well, it's for charity. And I was like, what do you care? I was like, literally, what do you care? Taco Bell is just using you. They're using the donation. Nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with me. Like, fuck you, dude. And he got all up in arms, like, gave me my food, and I left. But, like, cashiers who get offended that if you don't round up for charity are fucking bizarre.
I ask them to round down usually.
Yeah, I want that charity fucking paying for my goddamn meal. It brought up another thing in my head, too, where I was like, people that get so up in arms about stuff that has nothing to do with them. They either like white middle-aged people on the internet getting offended that like they think you said something racist, like anything like that. It's like it doesn't matter. Like no one cares that I said that.
But this is what I enjoy about the burners the most is like if you can go on and say something to somebody and like the sense of euphoria that I get when I know I've upset somebody is like I can't even explain it. Like there's nothing like it. So, but if somebody wants to argue with a fake account, they've already lost. They've already lost. And if they can't tell that it's like satire or whatever, like, you know, when on AOC's thing, I always post, how many sexual partners have you had? The Freedom of Information Act says you have to tell us. There's people saying, that's personal information. Like, my name is Ghost Malone. Did you read the profile? Like, but anytime, that what they value their time at? They're going to argue with a fake account on Twitter. And to me, like, that's like, it's like maybe that's what it's from. Is like you get those constant W's when you know that you've ruined somebody's fucking day, and you know that they're at home arguing with themselves. Like, I love that. I live for that. And I think that's one of my favorite things about the burners, and I think everybody does an exceptional job of that.
Oh, 100%. I think you have a good what's it called? Kind of like a good script too, where it's like you'll engage someone, you'll be like, "Who the fuck are you?" And then they'll be like, "Who the fuck are you?" And you'll be like, "Oh, it comes meaning a lot from someone who shops at Trans Warehouse," like something like that.
It's a lot of like I've tried some of this stuff in person, and it's a lot of misses. I was at this fucking bar in Dallas one time, and my friend was bartending. He's like, "Hey, I think this chick likes you." So me and my booze brain, I walk up to her. I said, "I almost wore that same dress tonight. That would have been weird." She looks at me and she goes, "You're fucking weird," and walked away from me.
Oh, that's dude. That's on her. That's funny. That's on her.
I've absolutely used that line before.
Yeah, that's a great opener. I'm again another gem that I'm gonna keep in the holster.
Yeah, I've got all the stuff. All the stuff that I put on there is like I've thrown away probably 98% of the material that you do it once, you get nothing out of it, you throw it away. So you stick to what works, I guess. And I'm
now Ghost. Quick question for you. Like Burner was talking here. How much of Ghost Malone would you say is a character versus how much is actually your personality, if there's any difference?
I would say, I mean, it's definitely a character. For the guys who've met me in person, they tell me I'm a very, very kind person. I'm a very nice person, you know.
Definitely.
And I think maybe because like I get to be that character on Twitter, you know, I think that's kind of like when you've had a shitty fucking day, and you're like, I'm gonna go on Twitter and see like, and you immediately just start fucking laughing, you know. But you get to be that person on there, but while also separating and having like, I think Dirty Mike does a real good job of it too because he has like his shit together. He's a very professional guy. Like he is. I'm outside of Twitter. He's a pretty clean cut guy. You go to Twitter and the dude's a fucking menace. So it's. I would say it's probably 90% the fucking character. I do say some of this stuff in person, but nothing like what I say on there. But I mean, not that I wouldn't. It's just they're two different people.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
a lot of it is just characters and satire, and it's what makes it so special, what makes it so fun. And of course, the best part is there's always that underlying grain of truth. And
Exactly.
I had one more thing here, Ghost. I definitely don't want to take up your whole night, but I wanted kind of your opinion on it. So, Cardi B said she misses her normal life. She goes, having everything gets boring. And I mean, I just kind of wanted to see either
She sounds like an idiot.
What?
She sounds like an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, if she wanted to like still be in Chicago, like stripping and gangbanging and doing that shit, she would be. She like, it's plain and simple.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess because I don't know. I have been rich and I have been poor. Rich is better. So I don't know what that. I'd rather have the problems of a rich man than a poor man any day. So I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. She sounds like she's a moron.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. And on that note of you being rich, can you send each of us $700?
I sent e-bumps out to everybody last night. Did everybody check their junk folder? Or
No, I didn't check my junk folder. I'll probably check there.
you must have missent me. I just got a K bump.
Oh, holy shit. Well, yeah, Ghost, was there anything else you wanted to bring up, talk about, give an uncle's touch to?
Not that I can really think of, man. It's not off the top of my head. I think you kind of give me a heads up what we were going to cover. I mean, I talk to you on a regular basis, so I kind of know your story. I guess I don't really know what's for Smokies, so I don't know how they got started in all this.
Just buddies from college, and just following a bunch of people, and then getting followed back, and the humor wins overall, and if you're semi funny and spew a bunch of nonsense, at some point people will see it and appreciate it, and it's pretty simple, really. I did have one last question for you. I know I don't want to take up your whole night. Was it a tough transition to your job now after coming from professional mixed martial arts? Are you just in the interview room?
So
the job interview, like
most people don't realize is I have an engineering degree. I'm an engineer. So so I did that while I was fighting. I was doing school. So that's why I travel all the time now. I go all over the country, out of the country, like that too. I do like system integration, engineering, stuff like that. But I'm actually very, very smart. But that is something that I've seen other people struggle with, and the same for me, because as a pro athlete, that is your life. That's all you're doing is you're always, and even like my friends will say, "Oh, this is my buddy. He's a pro fighter." You're labeled as that your whole time, and they're like, "Bro, I haven't fought, and I haven't even been in the gym in 5 or 6 years." So it's like it's hard to let go. You have to let go. That transition is hard because going from that to trying to be what I say like a normal person, it's very, very difficult because everywhere when I was fighting, the cameras were always on me. Everybody wanted to talk to me. And then getting away from that, having the spotlight on to just living a normal life. That was pretty tough. It probably took me a couple of years to figure it out. And then I would be like, I'm going to go back and fight. I'm going to go back to fighting, go back to the gym for like a week or two. I'm like, I remember why I fucking quit. So, yeah, I think I didn't say I struggled with it necessarily, but it was hard. I've seen guys who are 10 years out who still struggle with it. They still see themselves as that person, It's that ship sailed for me once my heart wasn't in it, and there was it's those guys still. They're like not like the high school people who think about football, but that's kind of how they are. They still think 10 years ago I would have kicked your ass. No, you wouldn't have, dude. No. So
yeah, I mean it's like that's a huge at that level too. I mean, even Joe Thornton, who just retired, he played for what, like 20, 25 years, and he's like still at the rink every day, retired last year, and they said he's still at the rink every day, working out, skating with the boys, like showering with them, like shit like that. It's hard to do.
Yeah, and then another point, I'll close on this one because I make this point to everybody is like when there's people who like, especially at the bars, you get it, and they say you want to go outside. I mean, do you want to fight or do you think you want to fight? Because there's a really big fucking difference. Fighting somebody and fighting somebody who knows what they're doing. And on that same token, my coach Cruz Randa told me this. He said, just because you don't see danger doesn't mean it's not there. I've been beat up by guys who are 130 pounds and guys who are 260 pounds. So you do got to kind of watch who you say something to, because you never really know what you're getting yourself into. And if size mattered, the elephant would be king of the jungle is what the saying is, But so that's one thing that I would pass on to any of the burners who are listening is, if you do want to get in a fight, be very, very careful about who you pick. Or if it was my advice, I would just avoid fighting at all. But sometimes you got to get beat up to learn the hard way, I suppose.
Ghost, did you ever, as a professional fighter, have to like register your hands as deadly weapons? I've heard about that before, but I don't know.
That's completely false. So, like, you are allowed to intelligently defend yourself. So, if somebody runs up to you and punches you and runs away, you can't run them down and beat them up. But you're allowed to intelligently defend yourself, is what the law is. Like when you fight, you register with I have a federal card, my federal license. I still carry it with me. It's fucking long expired, but like you actually get a license that says that you're a professional fighter and you're registered in the U.S. And then you get your boxing license and all that stuff too. But so it's like you are registered, but not in fact to where like you have to register them as weapons. So that might have been a thing of the past, but it was never anything that I've ever had to run into or experience.
Okay, wait. So hold on. On that note, so if it's not like hands or feet, could someone's penis be registered as a deadly weapon?
Who was it that had that fucking old man ball sack that posted it? That dude needs to register his fucking sack.
Yeah, that was Juiceman. It's your Hermes buddy.
Oh Christ! He had the sack of like an 85-year-old man.
Well, dude, he lost a bet when they were playing Warzone, and then had to post his cock on the timeline. Deleted it. A week later, posted his sack.
Well, you got to balance, man.
Oh, you know what? Some closing thoughts. If you haven't seen another man's sack at this point in your life, well, I just kind of feel sorry for you.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, 100%. Well, hey, Ghost, thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time, man. We'll have to have you back on soon. We're gonna start doing some drafts next week. We have Sherlock for a vending machine draft. If you ever text me back, which you probably won't. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening, and Ghost, appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.